Hello and welcome. I've been receiving a lot of comments as questions lately on my Assetto Corsa Getting Started guide, and a lot of the comments, which are questions basically, are centering around the fact that people have added a wheel to Assetto Corsa and they start a session and they're stuck in the pits and they can't seem to go anywhere. So I'd like to create a quick video today to try and address those issues if I can. I thought I had addressed many of the concepts in the Getting Started guide, but perhaps I missed something or something just isn't clear, so my apologies there. But let's try and address those issues today if we can. Now, to begin, I would like that people start with the base game, Assetto Corsa, and then before we start proper, one option you could do is take a copy of your Assetto Corsa installation and reinstall the game, in case you've added any mods or tracks. In case you've added any mod cars or tracks or apps that might be causing an issue. Probably not, but it's good to check, so that's something you could do. So just go into your Steam library and take a copy of the Assetto Corsa folder and just reinstall the game. Now also, before we start, there is the content manager, which of course I went through in detail in the guide, but let's not go there. The content manager runs on top of the base game and it adds a lot of features, but until you're sort of proficient with the base game, I wouldn't recommend touching it. It's great once you know how to play the base game, how to use the controls, how to drive and so on, and then once you're proficient there, the content manager can be an extension of that, if that sounds fair. So let's start with the base game. So we've connected our wheel. Now I have a screenshot here of the control panel because I don't want to open the control panel for my wheel in Windows once the game is running. That might cause an issue. So here I have my wheel set up with the defaults, and my wheel rotation degrees is 900. So we'll start the game and we'll open the launcher, and you may remember and it's prompted here that the launcher acts like a browser window of sorts, so you can go between full screen and windowed mode by using the F11 key. And it says here use F11 to toggle full screen mode, so use the F11 to toggle full screen. We'll just leave it as windowed. So we'll go to the main menu and we'll go to the settings section and we'll go to controls. Now what I've done is I've made a backup of my controller configurations, so we'll just go like we're going from stock, from the start. So go to the top left, select default and apply that as a preset and then give it a name. So we'll just say wheel 1 and click save. So we've started that process already. Make sure we have it loaded, and we want to configure a custom wheel and pedal set. So we'll click on wheel custom and click on start configuration. Now welcome to the quick configuration wizard. Press any button to continue. Move your wheel in any direction. Okay, then press a button. Center the wheel. Now you don't have to be exact about this. We can always fine tune it later, but get it as close as you can. Then turn your wheel 90 degrees. Again, you don't have to be precise. My wheel rotation lock is 877 degrees, which is wrong, but because we know it's 900, we can fix that later. Then press and hold down the throttle or gas pedal. My gas pedal, my throttle pedal is squeaking right now, so please ignore the sound. It's not a rodent. I need to oil it or something. So press and hold the pedal all the way down. Release the pedal, press the button. Press and hold the brake pedal all the way down. Release the pedal, press a button. Assign a clutch pedal if you need one. Release the pedal, press a button. And then we assign the paddle shifters on our wheel. So right side for up and left side for down. And then you can configure a H-pattern shifter if you have one. We have one here, so let's do so, but you don't need it. So what's happening here? First gear, something's gone wrong. So let's click back, back, back. Now we can always go back and forth if we make a mistake. So downshift, then back, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, seventh, and eighth. This seems to be weird, but we can fix that later. So let's see, do we have our clutch? We have our brake, we have our throttle, we have up and down, 1, 2. No, that's wrong, but we can fix that. So let's go apply. Now, so we'll click on, first of all, we'll save our configuration, and let's go to shifters, and you'll notice here, use a separate shifter is ticked. You'll need this if you're driving a car in the game where a H pattern shifter is modeled, and that's the basic control function for the car. You'll have to have this ticked to enable it. So let's just double check that these are configured correctly. So button 1 is 1, 2, 3. Actually, that's the first time the H pattern shifting option in the configuration tool ever acted funky for me. Let's go. Anyway, that seems to be okay. So we have our main controls. Now, notice here that the steering axis is 877, like we said. So what we can do is we select it with our mouse. We can actually use the arrow keys on our keyboard to fix it. So let's make it 900, because as we said, we know from our panel that it's 900, so that should match the degrees of rotation in your wheel control panel in Windows should match the degrees of rotation in the game, and that goes the same for any title. Then we'll check that it's squeaking, as I said. Now note these in the invert column on the right hand side. So let's untick these and see what happens. Now I'm using a Thrustmaster T3 PA pedal, and you notice here that when the invert tick is unchecked, that the throttle appears to be fully depressed. Now the progress bar or the status bar should go from left to right, so it's going the other way. So I'll tick this and make sure it's inverted, and then I know that, for example, that my gas pedal is working correctly. Same for the brake. The brake seems to be somehow depressed on some level, so I'll invert it, make sure that's correct, and the same for the clutch. And also, by the way, if you want to make your clutch throw or any pedal throw shorter, you can actually use this here, and that will reduce the throw of the clutch if you have issues with changing gears while using a H pattern shifter. Then you have your secondary controls. Now, for most cars, you will assign brake balance, traction control, and ABS. Turbo pressure would apply to older cars with turbos, such as the Audi Quattro. So let's assign brake balance. We'll use the Manatino switch on the wheel. Traction control up and down. ABS up and down. These are the most common ones you'd use in most cars that have those electronic systems simulated. Then your engine brake if necessary, and then you have the MGU options, which are the hybrid controls, which I also went through in the getting started guide. And then you have handbrake, headlights, and so on. So headlights would apply more so if you're using, I guess, the content manager where nighttime driving is applicable. It's more relevant there, I suppose. And then you have the advanced options. Now, of course, you can set the gain as you want. Let's leave it as default for now. You can look up videos on these if you want, or tweak these as per your preference. But in most cases, the default should be okay. So we'll select the profile we made. Let's save it. Make sure it's correct, and make sure we're loaded into memory. So now our profile is ready to go. We have our steering axis. So let's go back to the main screen. click on practice. And what we'll do is we'll use stock Kunos content. Now, I have the vanilla game, I have DLC added, and I have some mods, but I think this AMG GT3 car is a stock option. If not, please forgive me. If you don't have any stock content or any mods, you'll just have the base content, so just choose one of those. So we'll use the AMG GT3 and we'll drive at Spa. And now let's check the summary. So we're driving at 12 midday in clear weather. And then you have the difficulty presets. Now these can be an issue for some, these can be tricky, so you have to kind of watch it. So let's just make it custom. So let's set it to racer, and then we can cut, and then if we change any of these, it'll be custom. So we'll leave it at automatic gearbox because we want to use our paddles to change the gear. Automatic clutch is fine. Most of the modern cars may or may not include a clutch. Well, they'll only use the clutch when they're launching the car, for example, like a rally car. So we'll just leave it at automatic. The automatic throttle blip you can leave enabled or not. Ideal racing line, it's up to you. Traction control, factory. So if the real car in the real world has traction control, this factory means that it's set to the level that the real car should have. Stability control we can leave. Mechanical damage we can turn off. ABS is on because we set that as a control. Fuel consumption we can have on, so we can fuel our car in the pits. Tire wear we can set to 1 times. And that's pretty much it, I think. So that's our controls. Ready to go. Session. Difficulty, it becomes custom automatically the minute we change any value of a default profile. Then we'll click start and the game will launch. And remember, like I said, the launcher and the actual base game itself are separate elements. So this is the starting screen basically, and what you can do is if you want, you can configure a setup and save it. So we have the default here loaded. We have gears, tires, fuel, so on. We'll just leave it as default. But if you wanted to, you could make a change here, give it a name, and then save it, and that would be a configuration of the base setup. So we'll just click drive, and here we are now in the car, and we can use the F1 key to change our camera. So here we are in chase cam mode. And we'll go inside cockpit, and if anybody's wondering, I'm using track IR just to move the camera around a little. And what we'll do is we have the apps here, and we have the this gears, and we have the pedals. This pedal app, now you forgive me here because the pit window is here, but the pedals app I have enabled, and you can make it bigger or smaller as you want. And this will help us see that we have our pedal inputs correct. Okay, that's our clutch, that's our brake, sorry, that's our gas or throttle, and this is our clutch. So let's put it in first gear, take it out of the pits. Now if we move our mouse away from the apps list, it will disappear, as will the pit menu. Now most titles include a pit limiter, which you can have as either automatic or manual. For example, in Assetto Corsa Competizione, the pit limiter can be manual or automatic. Assetto Corsa doesn't have a controller for the pit limiter, but once you enter in the pits, the pit limiter will engage by default and limit your speed to 80 or 50 kilometers per hour. So let's try and do a clean lap. That's the automatic downshift protection, which is to limit braking the engine, but we don't have mechanical damage turned on. I'm not sure if this automatic downshift protection can be turned off. I seem to remember a controller for it, but I don't remember where it is right now. or if it's possible to turn it off. I guess it's modeled as part of the actual car. You know. Now we'll just try and do a clean lap. So we've gone through setting up a wheel. We've gone through starting a session, and we're out of the pits. So this seems to be the problem. People seem to get stuck. And I'm sure in most cases it's just a random issue. And I'm hoping this video will help people sort out whatever issues they've been experiencing. Now, and actually we can actually check here while we're here, that check that the rotation of the wheel seems correct. It is, so let's start again. If you use the F11 key, you can enable the virtual mirror. There it is. I don't need it, of course, there's nobody here, but just to show the theory. Turn it off. Now, this pit entry here in Spa, or at least in this version of the track, is quite awkward. So what we'll do is we'll enter the pits. And as you'll see, when we enter the pit lane, the pit limiter will engage. So we can't go any faster than, what is it? 80 kilometers per hour. That's it basically. And you can use the D-pad on your wheel to go through the pit options. And there are pit presets you can set in the controls as well, I believe. So you can add, let's say, we're going to add 20 liters of fuel. And no change to the wheels, no change to the tires rather, and no fixing. And let's go to, we can change the camera view to chase cam. And let's enter the pits. What happens? Now, get it line up correctly. Yes, there we go. Now, and then we're ready to go. And then we pull out. So we have our. Now let's go back to the. It doesn't matter actually what camera view we're in, because we have the on-screen apps here. Let's pull out again. Put it in first gear and pull out. Now we seem to be okay. At least we've made it out of the pits. Wonder how fast we can hit Eau Rouge and Radion. This must be quite scary in real life. Oh, there we go. So that's pretty much it. I'm hoping that this will help you guys get started. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know. If I've missed anything or something's not clear, please let me know. Maybe we can work through this together to get you guys started. And of course, once you've got yourself started in the base game, you could then look at the content manager and more advanced options. But downshift protection. So we'll change back to cockpit view. We have a track IR, which I like to use every now and then. So that's pretty much it. Until next time, thank you. And any comments or questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. and let's hope we can get you out on track. Until next time, thank you.